off for the first 15 minutes or so. Hopefully Walter will join us and go from there. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us this morning, 8 o'clock on a Monday morning. You're probably wondering what the heck you're doing on the phone with us. So wanted to go over a few things here this morning, kind of give an understanding of what we're doing here, the expectations on both sides, and what this is a part of. We often do this for the first 15 or 20 minutes because we find that oftentimes, people are kind of caught off guard maybe or informed at the last minute, so they don't really understand what's been happening here. So I'll kind of lay out what we're doing. You've been chosen as potential strong leaders and founders of moving forward with the organization, specifically by Kevin in this process and Randy. Let me give you an idea of what you're participating in. This is cutting-edge, patented processing that you're being involved in. You are now a part of something that has never been done in this industry. And let me explain to you what that is. That's a three-prong approach to what we're doing. The first approach being something that we've been working on, and that is the execution of the lead system, which we believe is 100% foolproof, and we've now proven that we've worked through the initial set and gotten to the leads that we know are providing value to you. The second piece of that is a recruitment tool that we're working on with Kevin and Randy that will take people starting in January in the initial interview process through a 67-stage evaluation process that allows us to determine those who may be viable and successful in a quotient efficiency for the position and success in the business. And then the third piece is what you're going to experience now, and that is the self-assessment. So let me give you an idea. Nobody's ever put these three pieces together. Let me give you an idea in the self-assessment. In the industry that you're participating in, we've had successes of insurance agents with other companies that have been in part of this process, and the end result of that within 6 to 7 months is an average 30% increase per month in their business. So let me tell you what this is all about. The staff that I have has taken about the last 4.5 months to evaluate the USHA business. So we've dissected it from every aspect that you can think of, from your marketing, corporate structure, your promotional materials, your training materials that are available, the recruiting process, and we've set a benchmark understanding where the company wants to go and how they'd like people to get there. Now we bring in the people that are hired through their current interviewing process, and we understand that everybody today that's on this phone call is here because your experiences in life have brought you to this point. The issue is that everybody's experiences are different, and in every case that I'm aware of, except for I believe Bill, no one was prepared for the insurance industry ahead of time. So the key is, what do we do to help understand where you are and bridge that gap? So if you're expecting some multi-level marketing, 30-minute hoorah speech, this is great, this is what you need to do, this is a boilerplate motivational training piece, this is not what you're getting today. Let me explain to you what we're doing today. This is a fully customized program. Our 38 Fortune 100 companies under contract and the people that pay us for the next 8 to 10 weeks will pay the equivalent on the low end of $7,500 to $10,000 per person on this phone call for this training. In executive level positions, we require 20% of their base salary in a year for participation in this program. So if that didn't just wake you up with an SO factor, I don't know what would. But then let's go into the assessment. Let me tell you the expectation. So the assessment that you took is a patented process through Dr. Hank, Global Marketing Empire Solutions, and Dr. Hank's Ultima program. It is a 55-page look into the testing that you took and assessing what your skill sets are. We'll walk through those over the next 8 to 10 weeks. The key is to understand the baseline of where you are and then find bridges to build anything that accumulates around fears, challenges, and help you get to that success level. Not only for your own personal development, but that you can move that development towards other people. And that's every one of you, you're in this position now to be able to influence and train other people. So that's the key to this. So let's set the expectation. So the expectation you should have of us is that we're prepared. Well, let me tell you this. I'm going to throw some statistics out. You just showed up at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. Some of you, I understand, didn't even know what was happening until the weekend. We've put over 300 man-hours into these next 12 hours of training with you. We've put over 100 hours into automated processing into the next 12 hours. This course, to any one of our traditional clients, would be set at a $35,000 to $50,000 course. That's what you're about to be a part of. So I can guarantee you that my staff worked past midnight last night, making sure they had the very last assessment analyzed, and then tailored the training process to understand how to move that assessment forward. You'll learn all aspects of the six aspects of the training cycle, of the sales cycle. You'll learn behavior modification. You'll understand communication processes. So it goes very into depth. The key is that your expectation of us should be that we know what we're doing. We're not going to waste your time. My expectation of you should be that you're committed to the program, you're loyal to the program, and you dedicate yourself to the process of the program. There are going to be things that you'll be doing offline. There'll be projects that you'll incur that take up minimal time, but will be vital to the success of this program. And it's structured in a way that allows us to help lead you and navigate you through to be successful. And the key here is, 30% increases in your business a month after month is going to help each one of you move forward into the goals that you want. So I'm gonna move forward. You guys, we've all been together. You've heard me before. You know who I am. We've done training before. We've been in the same room. But what I want to do is help you understand who you're going to be interacting with in this program. Not only is the financial benefit of this program high value, but you will be working with people in this program that essentially are the who's who of business. You've got people here that run in the circles of programs like Fox Business. They run in Oprah. They run in Dr. Phil. They get paid $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for 30-minute to 60-minute speeches at seminars and with companies. And one of those is going to be starting as our guest facilitator today. Hopefully, you had the opportunity to take time to read through Dr. Hank's bio. 22 years in the industry, specifically honing his skills and patenting processes here, gaining massive gains for companies like GE and Caterpillar and Procter & Gamble and people like that. So it's hard to sit back and think, wow, I'm here in my USHA office. I had no idea what I was getting ready to participate in. And the key is you have the opportunity, because of the relationship that I'm developing with Randy and Kevin and Troy, to be in the test pilot of this program that we would normally offer to our top 38 Fortune 100 clients. And now combining that with the other pieces. So Dr. Hank is someone who is just an incredible teacher, an incredible mentor. He is a world-renowned author, a world-renowned speaker. You've seen the bio. I want to tell you about Dr. Hank from my perspective as we get started. Dr. Hank, to me, is an amazing mentor. He's an incredible business partner. He's a wonderful associate. He's a fortress of integrity, and he's an incredible friend to me and my family. He's someone who has been a guiding light and a structure for me. The reason why Dr. Hank is starting this off is, quite honestly, because that's an area I need to learn more of. I'm a lead follower, get the hell out of the way kind of guy. The reality of it is, for me, this is coefficient business reality, right? You've all done your assessments. We know what the goal is here. We go through the process, and the reality of it is 1/100% of all business people in the world get a chance to have access to this program. So for me, it's lead, follow, get out of the way. You either see the value in it or you don't. What Dr. Hank brings is he brings compassion. He actually really, truly cares about this. He has spent time reading your assessments. He has spent time learning the business. He was up until 1:45 this morning finishing up the program when the last assessment came in. And he truly has taken time, even over the Thanksgiving weekend when I was in Dallas and through the following week, to understand your business, what your business requires, the uniqueness and disruptive technology aspect of your business, and how that fits with the aspects of being successful based on your skill sets, your traits, and your assessments. So you have the opportunity now to have direct coaching and business interaction with a gentleman who's a great friend of mine who is this year voted as America's Business Performance Expert. So you are now in the midst of having the opportunity to interact with someone who the top CEOs, the top business people, the top companies in the world go to. And he has taken your assessments, taken the USHA business, taken the interaction from discussions with Randy and Kevin and I, and put this program together for the next 12 hours over the next 8 to 10 weeks that we'll be meeting to specifically target those bridges that will help you navigate from where you are to your end success. And so with that, I'd like to introduce again someone who is an absolute dear friend of mine, who I just am in just absolute humbleness to be a part of and learn from, and am more than grateful that he has taken the time out to spend with us. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Dr. Hank.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much for that, PJ. And so I'm going to turn this off, but I just wanted to say hi, that I'm here and dedicated to helping all of us to become our greatest possibility. So to begin, I first of all want you to relax, take a deep breath in, and say to yourself that this is going to be the most amazing training that's going to help develop me to get to my income goals, to have the life of my dreams. And truly, if you just relax right now, and no multitasking, please. That actually, I'm a mental scientist, and there's no such thing as multitasking, that the human mind can only focus on one thing at a time. Now, we can go back and forth very quickly, but I really want you to, first of all, have the expectation that you're going to be awakened, enlightened, that this is going to be helpful to the success for you for the rest of your life. And I guarantee you it will. That as long as you have that attitude, and to just be focused. We're going to be together from 8 to 10 today. Mark your calendars that we will meet next Monday from 8 to 10 as well. I then want to make sure that you know, though, that I'm all about having balance in our lives. And so we are not going to meet the week of the 18th, the week of the 25th, the week of the 2nd, and we'll reconvene on the 9th. However, January 9th. However, I will be asking you to be developing your personal development plan, your business development plan. And so, I see Robert, let's see, Robert just joined. So, okay, good. And so we're all here too, so that's fantastic. And so today, we're going to also take a break around 9 o'clock or so, and just a 5-minute break. Again, I'm a mental scientist, and so I know that most of us can focus for a little less than an hour, and then we lose our focus. So I want you to take 5 minutes, and again, around 9 o'clock, we'll take a break. You'll also want to have your assessment. I emailed your assessment to each one of you. You guys are all outstanding. There's some very similar characteristics, and why that you each have that are the same, and that relates to your success. And we'll get into all of that, and you'll better understand on how we're doing all of that. And So now what I want to do is, or do I have any questions? You can type any questions. Before we begin, I'm going to open it up, and does anybody have any questions about the process or any statements you want to make before we begin?
Dr. Hank, why don't you go a little bit about the assessment and what the assessment does, kind of the structure and what that tells you. I think that this is kind of new for a lot of folks, and it's a little overwhelming, the 55 pages, and what that assessment is really all about as a baseline. Maybe it would help kind of prove that a little.
Sure, you bet. And so the assessment is the world's most statistically accurate and valid diagnostic tool. It is measuring these two particular assessments are measuring your behaviors, which are critical for you to understand your behaviors and then to understand the behaviors of other people. And then the second half of the assessment we're going to actually review next week, and that is your 6 motivators. And pretty much 99.9% of the world don't have this information and don't understand this, but you will next week. But there are 6 different motivations on how people make decisions. And so because you're going to be able to understand how people make decisions, you're going to be able to understand on which of those 6 are the ways that they are making decisions, so you can speak to how they make decisions, not how you make decisions, but how they do. And you'll see your increase in close rate. You'll get into more meaningful relationships, discussions, whether it's with your prospects or in your personal life. And in fact, you'll want to review some of your assessment with your loved ones and with the people around you that you're around a lot, that there is some amazing revealing information, and we'll get into all of that detail, but know that what you're getting pretty much, it even identifies, I know where you each are having some stress, and I'll be able to help you with your stress. I'd also like to share with you, you have all my contact information in my signature is my cell phone, on my emails that I've been sending you, that, and then of course you have my email, that if you need to text me, if you have a question, if you need to call me, if you need to email me, I'm basically with you forever. And so you're stuck with the Hankers forever. And so which means that you now have a resource that when you need help, and so when I say when you need help or you have questions, that can be whether it be the business, that we are very concerned about the business, but also we are equally concerned about each one of you and how you are personally and in your personal life. And I can be a resource for you to help you, whether it's about relationships or some type of abuse or children issues or whatever that may be. Know that I have experience in all of that as well, and am trained in that, and can help you. So look at me as a resource for your life, that my main objective is to help you become your greatest possibility. And I have the tools, the information, the knowledge, the assessments in order to help you be that way. And all I do is ask for your attitude of just saying and accepting that this is going to be some great stuff for you, and it will take you to the next level. And I guarantee it'll take you to the next level of income, of selling, of closing, of deeper, more meaningful relationships, for you to be happier and more successful. And so with that, any questions or comments before we begin? I have it open right now to all of you. You can say anything if you have anything to say. All right. With that, I'm going to mute you all. If you want to, you can use that. There's a chat button, and so if you have any questions, just let me know. Let's see, PJ, I'll undo you. PJ, you're actually open right now, and And so let us begin. And so we're going to begin with understanding yourself and others. I'd also caution you that one of the poison pills, I call it, is if you think you know it already. And so whether you've seen some of this information, none of you have seen The Motivations of Mankind, which we'll do next week. Some of you might have seen the DISC behavior profile. Whatever you have seen or heard before, that I have new insights for you. So I don't want you to think that, oh, I know this already. That again, I want you just totally focused on this, to enjoy yourself. I want us to have fun with this, and I want interaction. And so this first time when I ask you, hey, do you have anything to say? That's all right. But I want you to be prepared. This is not just about Dr. Hank talking to you, that I'm going to share information. But as we get going here, we're going to be interacting, and we're going to be asking on, what did you get out of this? That what do you think your next step is, your next action step that can help you with sales? So this isn't just sit back and listen to Dr. Hank. This is actually where you're going to be immersed in this information in order to help you achieve all the things that you want. So our agenda is we're going to look at the 4 DISC behaviors, and I'd also ask that you have a pencil, pen, and piece of paper. I want you to write down any ahas that you hear. Again, I'm a mental scientist, and I know that when we just hear things one time, that usually we don't internalize it and use it. And so one of the ways to remember it, internalize it, is to actually write it down. And specifically, I'll be asking you to write down the 4 DISC behaviors, but first we'll review, again, the agenda. You're going to get a couple of main things out of this on the behaviors. The first thing is that you're going to understand the 4 different behaviors of mankind. Hippocrates in 300 BC identified the 4 behaviors, and everybody kind of went, so what? It didn't matter because they were mainly farmers at the time, and it wasn't about relationships. That now in business, especially in our business at US Health Advisors, it's all about relationships. And so this will help you to identify the behaviors, and then importantly, on how within 30 seconds you'll be able to identify the behaviors of another person, whether you're talking to them face-to-face, whether you're on the phone with them, even if you're communicating with them on email, you're going to be able to identify their behavior, and then within about 30 seconds, and then you're going to be able to modify your behavior to more effectively open up the shade of communication with them. We're going to also look at the 6 steps of the sales process. At that point, you're going to actually open up your assessment and go to a page that identifies the 6 steps of the sales process and where you personally are in each one of those. So if you are, a couple of you are sharing, I think Dan and Andy are sharing a computer that hopefully you have your phone or another computer so that you'll be able to look up your own assessment there. We'll also begin developing your 2017 business plan. And gentlemen, I can't tell you what a fantastic time of year this is for us to really look at, okay, we've had quite a year. Most of you are in a new industry, and changes have happened, and you're in the perfect place right now. You should be grateful for everything in your life, because it's taken you to this moment right now where you're sitting with the best and getting the best information in order to take you to the next level in your life for your future. And again, not just here in this position, but as you grow with the company. Then, so we're going to look at specifically developing your 2017 business plan. And so there's 2 plans. There's one, your personal development on what you want to personally develop, and this assessment will help awaken you to the different areas that you want to develop. And then also that your business plan. And so you you've been, guided and provided some information with Randy, and he'll be inputting more information, and you'll be able to really look at not only what the overall objectives are, but specifically what you're going to do. And so to help you with that, at the end of the session, we're going to look at what I call the magic bullet in sales. And it created the know that, even though I'm a mental scientist and a business coach and all kinds of things, I'm probably number one out of all things. I'm a businessman. And so I sold my first $1 million deal, probably 19 years ago. I was with Procter & Gamble and managed a $1 billion business. So I was doing a lot of sales there. But for me as an entrepreneur, like each of you are, that I had my first $1 million sale, one phone call, and did a $1 million sale because of the magic bullet. And so I'm going to share with you on how you'll be able to use that process in order to increase your sales. And again, some of it you'll say, oh, I know that already. But again, I have a different perspective, and I want you to have a different perspective and to actually use this knowledge in order to take it to your advantage and to increase your sales and your business. And so with that we're going to look at the 4 different behavior styles, and here's the key that we'll be looking at each one of them. But what I'd like you to do is take out a piece of paper right now with a pen, and in the middle of the paper put a plus mark. And on the north, on the top side of that plus mark, just a couple of inches each, that plus mark, put a D. So on the top, put a D. On the right, put an I. So on the east side of that plus mark, put an I. On the bottom side, the south side, I want you to put an S. And on the west side, I want you to put a C. And again, it's important, imperative that you actually write this down and really start internalizing this information. So we're going to go through the different behavior styles, and we're going to start with the D. And so you have that plus mark D, and go up about 6 lines or so that we're going to write down on this key. We're going to write down what that D means, that how to some of the key behaviors of that particular behavior style, what their expertise is in that style, what they're good at, what percent of population, which means how many people are you going to be running into that are Ds, and then most importantly, after you identify the behavior style, how to modify your behavior style so you can more effectively open up the shade of communication. So with the D is for driver / dominant. So it's DISC, it's easy, it's like DISC. It's the 4 behaviors of mankind. Again, it's been around through the ages that we have now perfected it. I'm one of 72 people authorized to administer these diagnostic tools in the world. And literally these tools are all in the world. In fact, Japan is the #1 user of these tools. So it's in multi nationalities. You need your PhD and all this other good stuff in order to be qualified even to administer these assessments. So with the D is for driver / dominant. And these people, they like to control, and they like to do a lot of telling. Almost I'd use the word commanding. So just hearing that brief description of, okay, they're drivers, they're dominant, they like to control, they like to demand. Do you know anybody that might be that way? And so I want you to think about somebody in your personal life that might be a D. And I can tell you that all of you but one on the phone have a very high D. Most of us are real high one behavior style, then pretty high another behavior style, and then 2 behavior styles we're not very high in at all. The challenge is those 2 behavior styles that you're not very high in, that is about half the population. no matter what behavior style you are, about half the population you can't very effectively relate to. So you want to understand who you are, but at the same time you want to understand who other people are and where they're coming from. So I'd like you to write down a name like on who's a driver dominant, does a lot of controlling, telling. If you noticed, I had on the first screen PhD in kicking ass, and with that stallion, and we're wild stallions, and we're going after it. And so with these D's, that most of you again have this D in you, and some of you might not use the letter B and D. It might be B as in boy or another word on somebody that's real dominant like that. Well, I want you to think about who is that a driver dominant that likes to control, likes to tell. What they're really good at is they're good at decision making. So what that tells you in sales is when you are in front of a D talking to a D, that they're going to make a quick decision. So it is up to you to make a very concise presentation, offering, if you will, of our products of U.S. Health Advisors on what we're able to do, the health insurance we're able to provide. And with a D, you're going to need to, they don't want to hear all the data and get into all of it. They want to hear it, and you want to be very precise with them, concise with them, efficient with them, which we'll get to in a minute. And they're going to make a quick decision making, a quick decision, which can either be in your favor or not, depending if the answer is yes or no. So these will be the quickest prospects to turn into customers or not. And so you want to be aware of where they are, because if you're not efficient with them, that they're going to tell you no just because they don't like the way that your behavior style is with them. And they're not aware of it. People aren't aware of this. You're becoming aware now of these different behavior styles and why some people have been saying no to you. Well, they're going to start saying yes to you as you understand this. With the driver, about 18%. And so, about 1 out of 5 people you're going to run into that they're going to be a driver, and you need to understand that. And importantly, you need to be efficient. So with the driver, they're again, very dominant. They like to control. They're going to make a quick decision. And the key for you is to be efficient. So what does that mean? That means like you say, hey, how are you doing? They go, fine. How are you doing? They go back to you. And you go, oh, man, I woke up this morning and I was feeling good. I told myself I'm getting off on the right side of the bed. They don't want to hear all that stuff. And hopefully all of you said that to yourself this morning. Hey, I'm getting out on the right side of the bed. And we'll get later into, I'm going to actually help improve your mental processes and how you're thinking, and think more about what you want. And that comes in January. And that's some exciting things that literally is going to change your life forever. And so as you're thinking about that, you want to start calling it the way you want it. And so here with the driver, that you want to be efficient. Any questions, comments about that? Okay, now we're going to go over to the I. And the I is for influencer. And these people are very outgoing, and they do a lot of telling, more storytelling. And so what are they good at? They're good at influencing people. And guess what? Every one of you have a high I. One of the reasons, and so sometimes I'm in a room with a bunch of people that, and it might be high-level sales executives, and I see that a lot of them aren't I's. It doesn't mean they can't sell, but you each have been blessed with a God-given blessing of having the ability to influence people. And so you should say, thank you, Lord, and thank you for having me being able to have that ability. It's one of the reasons why you were selected, is because you do have a natural ability to influence people. 28% of the people are I's. So the good news about I's is one one influencer talking to another influencer, they typically get along very well. And in fact, sometimes you can't even get to the agenda because we're all talking. And so what you want to look at is that on your eye, you being an influencer, that when you meet with an eye, that's awesome news because you'll get along with them and it's easy to build that relationship. So if you look at two circles, like the two circles are overlapping, most of them. Now the issue with the D, and again, most of you are a D, and the only one, just so that you know, the only one that doesn't have a real strong D, and it's not good or bad or anything, it just is what it is, but it's Andy, and so everybody else is either a DI or an ID. And so the challenge you have for all of you that are Ds is that you have you like to control. Well, when you're in front of a prospect, you need to give up a little of that control if they're a D because they want to control. Okay, so a key point here on as you're now starting to communicate with people and your prospects as you're meeting with them to understand that when you identify within 30 seconds that they're a D, that you want to make sure that you give up a little control, that you don't want to do the controlling because otherwise they're going to tell you no just because they can't control no matter how good our insurance product is, which, by the way, you have the best insurance product. You're on the cutting edge and you're ahead of not only Obama, but you're ahead of Trump too, because whatever he tries to do is going to be a while in taking and we're going to fold right into that. So long term, there's nothing but good news and growth for U.S. health advisors and for each one of you. So now hearing that with the eye, I want you to think about who do you know that is an eye besides yourself, because all of you have a high eye, that who do you know that that has who's a high influencer. And the reason why you want to write down that person's name is to be able to relate it and to be able to remember this, because I'm right now talking about 100 words per minute. Your minds are going 300 to 400 words per minute. What are you doing with the extra time? Well, I want you to make sure that you're focused on this, and again, not multitasking and going back and forth, but being focused on this, that and which I know you are, that that I want you to be able to recognize when you're in front of a person that you have this extra time in your thought. So you want to be hearing what they're saying, and then you want to be identifying what behavior they are, and then importantly, you want to identify how to modify your behavior so you can more effectively open up that chain of communication and communicate your will on them. Okay, and you're offering on them, because what you're offering them, they all need. Everybody needs affordable health insurance, and you have the solution. And with the eye then, how do you need to be? You need to be stimulating. So what does that mean? When you go up to an eye, you recognize they're an eye. You don't go, oh, hey, how are you? You go, hey, how are you? So you want to bump it up a little. At the same time, you don't want to fake it and go, hey, how are you? Okay, that you want to be who you are, but you want to be aware of who they are, and then you want to bump up whatever that is. With the D, you want to be efficient. With the I, you want to be stimulating. So now we're going to go to the south end, and the S is for steady or steadiness. And the S, they're very good players. They don't like to rock the boat. And what they bring the world is an even pace. So like with Andy, that we're grateful for Andy because he puts a little even pace on it, because everybody else are IDs or DIs and we're going and blowing. And sometimes we need to step back a little. And so I'm going to help you all of us need to slow up a bit. and to breathe deeply. It's important that you start breathing. And, some of these concepts that you hear, you think, hey, how can that be? What does that have to do with anything? Breathing has everything to do with it. That as you breathe, you tap into the flow of life, and you'll tap into the perfect words to be able to share with people, that you'll become this magnet. And I'm going to help you become this magnet and shine your magnet to where it is so powerful that you're going to attract the prospects you want, you're going to attract the perfect words, and you're going to attract closings and more money and everything that you want. You're going to start becoming even more of a magnet than you already are. That I understand all of you are high end, and that's why you're sitting here today and blessed to have this opportunity to get this information, this valuable information. And at the same time, that know that all you need to do is tweak who you are, just tweak it a little, and it'll take you to a whole new higher level of your expertise and who you are and the magnet that you are. And an example of that, I'll use a baseball example, but let's take two guys that are in college playing baseball, and one guy hits 200, another guy hits 300. And what's the difference between the guy in college hitting 200 and the guy hitting 300? Well, the guy hitting 300 ends up going to professionals and earns millions of dollars, whereas the guy in the 200, goes pursue something else, but probably doesn't have a fast track and easy ticket to millions of dollars. Well, what's the difference between the 200 hitter and the 100 or 300 hitter? Is one more hit out of 10. And that's what I'm doing here with you, is to help you to just tweak your thinking and your understanding, your knowledge, your skills, so that you'll be able to go to that next level and to be a 350 hitter, if you will, and to knock it out of the park. So the S is, again, an even pace. So back to the S, steady. Great team players, don't like to rock the boat. They bring an even pace, and you better like them. And most of you Ds don't like S's. Why? Because the D is saying, hey, hurry up, let's go, let's get going. And the S is saying, hey, let's slow down. And so when you're in front of an S, this is your greatest challenge. At the same time, it's the highest percent of population that you're going to be in front of. And you really don't like those S's very much. And so you D's, you can kind of smile right now and say, well, yeah, sometimes I don't like, the S's. They're a little slow, because they're looking at slowing down, and D's are looking at speeding it up and hurry up and let's do a decision, where the S is saying, hey, we don't have to hurry up. We can take it easy. In fact, we don't need any change. And so that's one of the challenges that you have, is S's don't want to change. Well, changing their health insurance is a change, right? And so how do we get them to move over to our side? And so first of all, we need to be patient. We need to breathe deeply, especially you Ds, which is most of you, and you need to settle down and say to yourself, this is a steady. They're at an even pace. I'm going to honor them because of that. And then I'm going to be agreeable. So the key, and for all of you, that to understand that this S, and this is where Andy really kind of has it made, if you will, that Andy can relate to S's and doesn't get kind of upset, if you will, with S's like D's can. And so the key with the S's is you want to be agreeable. So what does that mean? First of all, you don't want to say no. So when you tell them no, subconsciously, they're not even aware of it, but they're drawing down their shade, and they're not going to buy from you. They're not going to buy into you. And people buy because they like you, and S's aren't going to like you if you tell them no. The other word not to use is the word but. So you say, oh, that's a great idea, but? Well, that's a great idea. Once you say but, that just erases that sentence, right? So what you use is you use and. And you say, oh, that's a great idea about whatever you said about that, you have okay health insurance, whatever. And did you know? And so you want to use the word and you're going to have to gauge with them. S's move slower. It's not that they're mentally slower. They've been blessed with the behavior style of having this even pace. And so you're going to have to hit them a lot of different times. So let's say that you'd like to close them, let's say within the next 3 days, that with a D, you can just talk to them and say, so, here's the best shot I can give you on here's the health insurance, why you need it, why it's good, why it's so affordable, that do you want to do it? And the D is going to say yes or no, and you're either going to get them or not. The S, you can't hit them that hard. What do you have to do is ask them, so what do you think about this? Do you think that this is something you might be interested in? Do you think I could call you tomorrow to talk about that if they don't answer yes right away to you? And so in the 3-day span, it might take you several calls, maybe several meetings in order to meet with them. And I'm assuming that all of you can relate to, and especially those D's, to S's and how they've been your greatest challenge. And here's how to nip it in the bud now. And they don't have to be your greatest challenge. This understanding of who they are, and this is probably the greatest understanding that I want you to be aware of, is this S, since most of you are D's, that on how to get along with those S's. And so I want you to think about an S. You might even be married to one. And then you might ask me, well, why on earth did I marry an S and they bother me? And the answer is that opposites sometimes attract. But when you start living with them, sometimes they can get to you. And so, okay, so now we're going to go over to the C on the west side. And the C is for conscientious or compliant. Not as big a factor as because of population, the percent of population is only 14%, but you have come into them where these people are all about facts and data. And so it'll drive you nuts, especially all of you are I's. And one of the reasons why I have the C across from the I, typically C's don't get along very well with the I's. The D's typically don't get along very well with the S's. And the reason why the C's don't get along very well with the I's is the C says, or let me state it, the I says, hey, we got the best insurance, health insurance, in the world. And the C says, quit all the bullshit and just give me the facts. You're going, the facts, come on, And so how do we need to do that? And so your greatest challenge, the greatest opportunity is the S for all of us. That your greatest challenge, because all of us are I's, that is that C, because they want the facts and the data, and they're all about rules and regulations. So they're very interested in, hey, does this align with the Obamacare, and am I going to get taxed, and all of that kind of stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to help develop answers, and together we're going to develop the answers in order to have some concise answers to be able to address the D's, and at the same time to be able to have everybody comfortable, all behavior styles comfortable with the information that we provide, that it's an easy way for them to make a yes decision. Only 14% of the C's are C's, and the way to be with the C is to be accurate. So they don't want to hear, well, it's going to be around $700 per month. If you tell them that, they'll close their shade, and we don't want to lose 14% of our sales. So it's still a critical sector here and part of the population that, we're looking at, we like 100%. And so that's what we're after. That's why we're going to kick ass and take names to get this 100%. And so by having this knowledge, and so with C's, when you're talking with them, and you'll know this on how they are, because they'll be asking about all the data. And they'll be asking about what are the rules, what are the regulations, and you want to be prepared for that. And so you want to be very accurate. And so you want to tell them it's going to be $758.28. And even though you don't care about the 28 cents, the C does. In fact, you don't even care about the 58, whatever. You just say around 700. But that's why you lost some sales, because you weren't accurate, concise with a C on what they wanted. The D and the I, I'd like you to put a line between the D and the I, and these people are very extroverted. A line between the C and the S, these people are typically more introverted. So for the bulk of you, you are extroverts. And so am very extroverted. Actually, all of you are more extroverted than anything. And but you can see that you have 54% of the population with the S and Cs that are more introverted. So you want to slow it down. So when I talk to an S, I say, hi, how are you? Good, good. I'm doing well, thank you. Did you notice how I slowed it down? I quieted it down. And one of the reasons why I'm talking the way that I am talking is because your IDs, you're extrovert. So I'm actually modifying my behavior to more effectively open up that shade of communication so you can take in this information, embrace it, immerse yourself in it, and start living it. And the way to live it is through your mind, is to be identifying when you meet anybody from now on. I want you to ask yourself, what behavior style are they? And then how am I going to modify my behavior style? With the D, I'm going to be efficient. The I, stimulating. The S, agreeable. The C, accurate. Then when you look at the I and the S, that these people are typically concerned with relationships. Okay? And so the I and S are more about relationships, whereas the DC, now none of you are a full DC, let's see, Dan, you actually have your DIC, and so so you do have some C, but DCs, they're only concerned with tasks. Now I had a IBM sales executive and manager of a multi-billion-dollar business that I showed her this, and she started to cry right now. And I said to her, look, this is good information, but it's not that good. You don't have to cry over it. And she said, oh, no, the problem is that, my awakening is that I'm an IS. So she's an IS, concerned with relationships. She'd been married for 13 years to a CD, concerned with tasks. And for the last 13 years, she's tried to get this guy warm and fuzzy. A DC is never going to be warm and fuzzy. And so she realized he wasn't just trying to be macho or whatever, that, he's just a CD, and he was concerned more with the tasks where she was concerned with the relationships. So I asked her, give me an example of, what's the dynamics of your relationship? And she goes, well, like when we go on vacation, that, I'm thinking, her, I being the IS, she's thinking, oh, are we going to invite the in-laws? Are we going to invite any of the kids' friends? So she's all concerned about the relationships. When she goes to her husband and talks about it, he says, hey, when are we going? Where are we going? And when do we come back? And she goes, oh, where's, the love in that? Where's the heart? And the fact is, all is well, that that she recognized the difference. Then she turned to me and she said, so why did I marry this guy? And again, it's his opposites attract, but sometimes it's a little difficult when you live with those opposites. So there we go. There's the DISC and the different behavior styles, how you can identify them, modify your behavior style. And now we're going to get out of that, and I want you to go to your profile, your assessment. I sent it about 7:45 this morning, your assessment. So you should have it. And I'm going to unmute you all right now. And so tell me, did everybody receive their assessment? Bill, did you receive your assessment? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, Andy and I, we got ours.
Dan, okay, great. Okay, so Dan and Andy got yours, great.
Yeah, Andy's on his laptop too, so he's able to look at his as well.
Okay, great, super, super. And let's see, Robert, you got yours?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, good. Bill, are you there? Bill. Walter, are you there? Hello. Okay, so what I want you to do is go to your assessment, and I want you to go to the page 3, and where it says sales characteristics. Okay, Walter says I am here. Okay, thank you, Walter. Appreciate it. And do you have your assessment? I assume everybody has their assessment. If not, please speak up. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take 5 minutes. So let's just call it at 9 o'clock. We'll be back. But I'd like you to read just the next 2 pages, the sales characteristics. I'd also like you to take a break. So if you need to use the restroom, need to get a drink of water or whatever. So I'd like you to take a break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and we'll start going through the assessment, and specifically your assessment. And I'm using Candace here, who is she actually went through a similar process. Again, we tailor-made this process for you. All of this, this was, brand new. We created it from scratch, if you will, but took all of the expertise of that I have together to align it to you. But with Candace, she actually is an insurance agent, and she was just an assistant at a farmer's insurance branch, and so she went through a similar process, and she ended up she now has her own. This is within 9 months. She has her own branch, and she's making 5 times more money. And so these are the type of things that this will happen with you. So again, we're going to take a couple minutes here, read through your sales characteristics, use the restroom, get up, stretch a little, breathe deep, and then we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay? All right, gentlemen, I am back. Is everybody back and with me? Someone say yes. I have you all unmuted so you can Okay. So so let's oh. Yeah, go ahead. What was that?
Loud and clear. We got you.
All righty. Okay, there we go. And so here we go now. Because of we have a lot of things to go through. This is again, we're only going to go through about half this assessment, and we're going to blow through it pretty much. That what one of your success-inspired action steps and assignments will be is to thoroughly read the first half of your assessment here. That after you read the assessment, do you think the assessment was pretty accurate?
Yeah, this is Dan. I think mine was pretty accurate, and Andy seems to think his was pretty accurate as well.
Yeah, great, good. Yeah, I remember I was with the executive group of John Deere, and there were about 50 of them in one room, and they had a little bit different assessment, but there was this general descriptions, kind of like your sales characteristics here. And this one guy, he stands up and says, "This is nothing like me." And so I know that this is easily 93% or higher accurate. And so I asked them, just read, if you wouldn't mind, they've all known each other for 15, 25 years. And and so I asked them, and they all knew each other, very well. And I said, just when you read the first paragraph out loud to everybody, and let's let them decide. So he reads the first paragraph, and he's, reading it like, this is nothing like me, and he's reading the first paragraph. And after he reads it, everybody goes, that's exactly like you. And so the lesson here is that some of the things that you're going to be reading that you might disagree with a little, but I'd like you to take a hard look at it and to see if maybe there isn't some truth behind what it shares with you. So the sales characteristics is and then the second page of that gets into typically a little bit more dicey, maybe, it gets a little bit more, a little harder, kind of the good stuff on the first page. The second page is maybe some areas of opportunity for improvement. So what I'd like you to do is go to the next page now, though, and this is the overview of the 6 steps to the sales process. So you'll see it says, so we'll take prospecting. You'll see it says adapted and natural. Now, the natural is, and there's no other assessment that does this, that with behaviors, where I actually can measure who you naturally are and then how you modify your behavior in your outside world. Ideally, you want to love yourself for who you are and have the natural the same as the adaptive. Now, in most cases, you're not going to be exactly the same. In this example here of Candace, that under demonstration, she was 9 and 9, but you can see she's off, a little here and there. You'll see that this is also where you'll gain some stress, is when you're trying to be somebody you're not. And you'll actually be more effective by being who you really are. And we're going to take a look at a graph on that later, but look at prospecting. Now, 5 is, you're pretty good. At 5 is, it's okay. That when you get into 6, 7, 8, I mean, pretty much nobody's a perfect 10 in any of them. But you can see on like Candace, and I shared with you on her amazing, remarkable success when she understood these 6. And so what you want to look at is where you are and where you're strong at, and then also where you're not very strong at. And so most of you will probably be fairly low in qualifying. And so if that's the case, all you need to do is, you've at times have wasted your time because you haven't taken the time to ask good qualifying questions. So you're good at, for the most part, all of you are good at prospecting, very good at your first impression because of your high I, and then at qualifying, you're not as good at. So what I would ask you to do is to develop some good, solid questions on qualifying. And so, kind of how this works is I'm going to give you some key success assignments. Like, number one is to read your assessment. That if any of you get back with me for really good qualifying questions, that I would appreciate that, and it will be good for you and in your career. And so if anything for your own business, but also corporately, that, if you want to take the extra step, if you will, and send to me some good qualifying questions, so you're not wasting your time talking to somebody that isn't qualified. And again, I have you all on mute right now, and so if you have, and I appreciate that it's quiet in the background, which is great, and you can interrupt me at any time, and you can input with any questions you have or any comments that you have. So qualifying demonstration, I imagine that some of you have some I've reviewed all of your assessments, but in general, most of you on demonstration probably could do a little bit better. Probably qualifying, though, is the key one that all of us can do better on. Then influencing, and so all of you are very good at influencing people. And then closing. Now, typically, the D's are going to be higher in closing. And so they basically just ask for the order. And so depending on where you rank there, that I want you to look at these 6 steps of the sales process, look at what you want to fine tune, what you believe could be helpful in order to take you to the next step. In fact, one of the things I am going to for sure, ask of you is that you start developing your plan and your personal development plan. And this would be one page that you would look at and say, what do I want to hear on this? What do I want to identify? And again, I use an example on qualifying, on what are good qualifying questions. Well, closing, if you're not as strong as you want to be in closing, what are some good closing questions? And in any of those areas, if you want to send me questions too, that would be helpful to, again, you, but to our team, as well as to U.S. health advisors, that will be helpful to us all. So there that is, and again, because of time, I'm going to just go through and just have you know what's in here, but I want you to read it all. And so it's talking about your potential strengths, obstacles, challenges to your behavioral selling success. That keep on going down, that so where I am is I'm at value to the organization. So I don't know if you have just your profile up or yours and mine, but I'll assume you don't have mine up. And so just know that, hey, here's where you are, the value to the organization. Yes, PJ, go ahead. You should be, oh, I'm sorry, you aren't. Here. Okay, go ahead.
You got me?
Yeah, there you go. Good.
Good. I'd like to add a few comments on this. First of all, understand that it will take you, and this is the reason that we schedule this training in this length, it will take you a good 8 to 10 weeks to get through this. As Dr. Hank mentioned, it's very valuable for you to sit down with people that are close to you and review these and start to understand it. And for example, in the page we just looked at with the 6 steps of the sales cycle, those numbers are very important, and you'll realize later and deeper in how important they are. And let me tell you why. What those identify, as Dr. Hank mentioned, is your natural tendencies versus on what you feel you need to modify those tendencies to be successful. Now, that's your belief in what you need to modify. The difference in those two numbers are what we call stress. And so when you sit in front of a customer, people often compensate for that stress by doing other things that if you don't understand the communication process of the individual you're speaking with, they pick up on that. And that's what usually sends up what we call the red flag. Hey, I had a red flag, and that didn't seem right. Hey, he had a comment. And so what we're going to do in the next 8 to 10 weeks is we're going to dissect all these, drill down into those behaviors, build up your confidence, and build bridges to navigate around that so that you become comfortable and you realize to pull those two numbers closer together then makes you more valuable in front of your clients or your prospect, because you'll both remove the stress and you'll be more comfortable in the way that you present the information. You won't feel like you're subpar or performing in that specific area. So I just want to add, one of the things that we've noticed most in the areas that we develop people in the sales arena or even in the advisory arena is being able to remove that difference in those points, remove that stress, and help you understand the tools you have available to navigate through that so that it eventually becomes a habitual process for you. You become more successful. And that's really where the exponential growth starts to come as we drill down into these behaviors and match them up with those 4 behavior processes that help you then understand the motivators and help you communicate better. So I just wanted to kind of add that this is something that's going to take you some time to understand, and it's going to take several readings, and it is very valuable to share pieces of this with other people that are around you so that you can even role play and help understand what will make you successful in overcoming that. So I just wanted to add those comments.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. And again, you guys can input at any time, and I have everybody on mute, so you can comment at any time. Again, because of time, we have lots of pages to go through, but I want you to continue to move down. Value to the organization, that's on page 9. Checklist for communicating. This is how you like to be communicated with. You may want to share this with each other. With Randy, at home, because you'll see that it's like a laundry list, but there's some things that you really enjoyed doing. Can you explain a little more into the qualifying? Is this, I didn't read that whole thing. Let me see if I can see it. Can you ask that again? Let's see, who was that?
I was just going to say, if you can, could you explain into the qualifying part? Because I'm about the same as the example you're showing on the qualifying. Are you like talking about qualifying our lead, or are you talking about qualifying their personality style?
Yeah, qualifying the lead. Qualifying the lead. So, so not qualifying. This is just strictly on the sales process. And it's a great question that it is actually qualifying. Are they a qualified prospect? And so let me give you, an example, let's say a housewife who doesn't make any of the economic decisions in the family, and you're talking to her. And basically the husband's a D and he makes all the decisions and is financially on it. You're talking to the wrong person, but you don't know that. And so you invest all this time on that. And so qualifying. So a good qualifying in that example, a good qualifying question would be, so who typically would make the decisions on insurance for the family? Okay, so is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay, great. And and again, this is a powerful page. And again, because of time, that we have other things to go through. Your success assignment, though, one of them will be to, review all of this. Value to the organization, checklist for communicating, not communicating, selling tips. Now, this is a great page to review on and so it says, on selling tips, and I'm on page 12. And so when selling to a person who's dependent, neat, conservative, perfectionist, careful, and compliant, well, who is that person? That's a C. And so this is giving you more information about the C. And then who's ambitious, forceful, decisive? Who's that? That's the D. When selling to a person who is patient, predictable, who's that? S. When selling to a person who is magnetic, enthusiastic. And so this is a real good page on real specific steps to take for your selling. Here's your ideal environment that you like. And so if you don't have this ideal environment, that you want to start taking steps towards it. So it may be the company's culture isn't giving you, like in this example, this person Candace wants freedom from control and detail, and maybe there's too much detail. There's too much detail. We need to discuss that. We need to see if we can develop processes to improve that so that you're not getting bogged down, because we want to give you your ideal environment as best as we can. Perceptions. This is a fun page. So this is on page 14. And this is your own self-perception. This is others' perception in the middle when you're moderately stressed out. And this, you guys, you're not going to like very much. This is the perceptions of others when you're extremely stressed. And so look at that last, area there and say, oh, yeah. And so this, helps you. Probably most of you are, because of your high I, that, when you're stressed, you have a tendency to be a poor listener. It's critical to really listen to what they're saying, what they're not saying, and again, to just relax. This idea about relaxing and again, breathing and just let it flow. And as you're relaxed, so you relax your customer. As you're in the flow, so you relax your customer, prospect, client, and better outcomes will come from it. Descriptors, that's just the DISC, and with some other words, the highlighted area, and that's on page 15. That highlighted area are the key points on who you are. And so you'll see when you're not like under this one on compliance, which most of you aren't very compliant per se, that you can see when you're not very compliant, how are you? And you can see on the ways that you would actually be when you're below that 50% line. So people, challenges, problems, challenges, that's the D. And so now I'm on page 16. And again, I know I'm going through this quickly, that you're going to have time in this next week to really review all of this. But just so that you understand on some highlighted problems, challenges, so that would be a D. Here's how you are naturally in your selling style, and here's how you adapt your selling style. What you want to do is you want to start moving towards being more of your natural self. People can tell subconsciously your vibration, and when you're trying to adapt yourself to be somebody who you aren't, they can tell that, they can pick up that, and that makes them uncomfortable and helps them to say no versus yes. So you want to be your natural self, even though you've been told, oh, don't be this way, or probably most of you have been told at times, oh, you're too talkative. I want you to continue to be too talkative. At the same time, you do want to listen, and you want to be quiet when they're talking, never to interrupt anybody ever is just a good rule of thumb. But at the same time, I want you to use that beautiful eye that you've all been blessed with. Okay, and so I'm scrolling down still. The adapted style, here's how you are in your work environment on the adapted way that you are. Here's a great page on keys to motivating. So I'm now on page 19. Keys to motivating. There's a laundry list on how you like to be motivated. That if you're not being motivated the way you want to, I would go to whoever. It may be your spouse, your significant other. It may be, Randy or one manager, whatever. But talk to them about that and share with them, hey, this report says, this is how I like it. That way you're not accusing them of either doing or not doing something the way that you like it. But this way it bridges this communication, because it's important that you're comfortable and happy in your work environment. The keys to managing. So those 2 pages, keys to motivating, keys to managing, those 2 pages, I would suggest that you review those, highlight the ones that are critical for you, just print off those pages, and I'd sit down with, whether it be Randy or each other, depending on how much you're working together, whatever, or people that are a lot in your life, keys to managing and motivating, and share with them how you want to be managed and how you want to be motivated, and see if they can start doing more of that. You'll see it'll lighten your load as well as lighten their load. Some time wasters. I shared with you that in our summary of what this process is going to do, it's going to help you be a master at time management. Here is a checklist of time wasters. I want you to go through this, and I want you to take steps on, for example, whether it be a cluttered desk involved with too many people. And so, what are and I give solutions here for you to do that. A filing system. Do you have, a good system in place? Are you procrastinating? And so, for the most part, most of you aren't procrastinating, but I want you to get on it, but I want you to get on the right things. It's not about doing. If you keep on just doing, you'll get do. And so none of us want that, right? What I want you to do is really, that's why you want to develop this plan, because for every 5 minutes you invest in the plan, you'll save a half hour of time. And so that's why you want to take this plan seriously, your personal development and your business plan on there. So there's a bunch of time wasters, and it goes through all kind of the inability to say no when you're a high I. You have a tendency to not being able to say no. Here's some great steps to take in order to resolve that. Areas for improvement. So here's a laundry list, and that probably most of these you have already are aware of and developed, but identify which other areas on this list here, what do I need to do, because you want to put that in your development plan. And so where is the action plan? The action plan is right here. Here's your professional development with some questions on for your professional development, and then here's an action plan with your personal development. And so you can modify the questions if you want, but these I want you to print out, and I want you to actually send me these action plans as you begin developing it. So what are your success assignments so far? Read your assessment up through the first half, which we'll get to. Read that first half, and then also to send me your action plan. And again, I want you to think about on how this is going to build your 2017, and you're going to have a year like you've never had before. More business, more referrals, more clients, more closes, more money. And so there's a lot of other information, but again, because of time and we need to get to the magic bullet here, but the last page I want to take you to is on page 30. And this is 2 graphs. And now most of you, it's page 30. It might be 31 or 29, depending on how much verbiage needed to be. But for most of you, you're probably on this page. That what you want to look at is your right graph is who you really are. And so I want you to start getting back to who you really are. You can see the DISC, the highest bar is your number 1 behavior style. The next highest is your second behavior style. And so for most of you, you're high ID, DI, and then the S and the C you aren't very high in, which means you need to better understand those 2 behavior styles and make sure that you recognize them and then modify your behavior style. That the left graph is how you modify your behavior style. And so in this case, look at what Candace is doing. Her right graph, who she really is, she's a 66 on her D, and her left graph on the D is a 45. If you have a difference of 10 points or more, this means that this is causing a lot of stress for you. So I want you to take a look and subtract the D from the D, the I from the I, the S from the S, the C from the C, and see what you're doing on where you are getting stress. And I will give you, in fact, I'll give you right now the 4 solutions, and it's DESC. So delegate, eliminate, simplify, and then communicate. So in Candace's situation, and a few of you are this way, where you drop your D to where you have about, I think, your 9-10 points difference on the D from who you really are, and you drop your D, that by dropping your D, so how could you delegate? Well, so that one of the things in this graph, in this example of Candace, where she drops her D, she needs to delegate more to herself. She needs to start making more decisions, taking more control. So if you're in that position, your graph shows that, I want you to start getting back to who you are, and that's about being more control. So delegate. In this case, it's delegate more control. A lot of you have your S, where you actually decrease your S in your left on your left graph, your modified self, which means that you are moving faster than you're comfortable with. And so there you want to delegate to somebody. Maybe you need an assistant. Maybe you need a software process. Maybe you want to eliminate some of the things that aren't high payoff activities, which we'll get to high payoff activities in the weeks ahead. But you want to identify, what are my high payoff activities? And so you maybe want to eliminate. So delegate, eliminate, simplify. Maybe there's some things you can do to simplify. One of the ways to simplify is to block similar activities. So if you're going to referral partners and calling referral partners, call them all at one time in one sitting. And then communicate. And communicate to me, communicate to PJ, communicate to Randy, that, communicate to your family, whatever. But you need to communicate with your business. You need to communicate to us if we can help you in some way to streamline this so that you're not stressed and you can be more effective and more productive. So that was, and just so you know, the very last page of this section is the success wheel, and it's just another way to look at you. It's like the graph, and you'll see on the graph that your adapted self is the star, how you adapt yourself, and the natural self is the circle. Don't be too concerned about that. It's just another way to slice it, but that's the last page. So I'll want you to read through your assessment through this last page, and so that for most of you that will be on this page right here, which is trying to get to the actual page number, will probably be for most of you. Still trying to get to the darn thing. We'll get to 32. Okay. Page 32. Okay. All right. So any questions about that? It's a lot of stuff. Yes. What was that?
I got a question on the behavioral hierarchy.
Okay.
You have, starting with number 1, frequent change, you have this graph and you have numbers on the right. Is that where we should be, and the numbers below with the asterisk is where we are on your assessment?
Yes. So what you're referring to is the behavioral hierarchy that I'm showing on my screen right now, and so this is you, and so I'm going to use Candace as the example here. So Candace is with frequent interaction with others. She's at 9.0. That the gray bar is, and you'll see where it says 68% of the population. So the gray bar is where 68% of the population is, and the 6.2 is the mean. So what it does is it helps you understand that versus the population, here's where you are versus the population. The order is based on who you specifically are. So this frequent interaction with others is number one for Candace, but it won't necessarily be number one for all of you, even though it'll probably be right up there because you guys are high eyes, and everybody has but so now look at the bottom ones that for most of you, number 12, an organized workplace. Look at where Candace is, analysis of data. You guys are probably low on that, and it's a great question because, and a great analysis on to look at, if you want to be more effective and that, you need to be more organized. So you need to, like a cluttered mind starts when you sit down at a cluttered desk. And so you need to make sure, hey, I need an organized workplace, so I have an organized mind. Because what happens when you have a cluttered desk is you got, I got this, and you start taking your energy and you start splitting your energy in different things, and it makes you less effective. And then analysis of data that, there might be data, there's the paperwork, whatever, that you want to look at. Hey, how can I DESC this? How can I delegate, eliminate, simplify, and communicate this? So did that help you with the meaning of that?
Yes, that took care of it. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. You bet. And any other questions?
You have me open there, Dr. Hank?
Pardon me?
Dr. Hank, you got me?
Yeah, I got you. Uh-huh.
Okay, so essentially, team, what's happening here is this is part of all those hundreds of man hours that went in. So what we've done is you take the industry that you're a part of and you take the average attitude and norms and behavioral activities of people that are in that situation, people that would be seeking this type of service, this type of sales, and it matches that up for the general attitude of what that population is, that demographic, based on how it interacts with you. And so what we do in that situation is we give you the advantage to say, you may be at this situation, but the general response to people or what they're looking for to interact with you to gain a beneficial, positive outcome is at this level. And so that's what part of this is and why this is such a valuable tool and why it's customized in the way that it is, because what we're doing is we're giving you the industry standard on the prospect attitude that you're going after for a sale to close. Now, at the end of the day, what you do is you look at your natural versus your adapted. For example, for me, I was a high D off the charts, and I know that's hard for everybody to believe that, but, I was off the charts that for me to feel like I had to adapt to my style was creating significant stress for me. So what did I learn to do, especially when I came on board here to work with your organization, is I started to find people that would even that out, like Dan, like Andy, people that I could hand things off to that would help fill the gap and help me learn. And so that's part of this team-based environment. And this goes now into that 8, 9, 10 weeks. Our goal is to get you as FTAs to a point where you understand how to not only initiate and execute this process yourself, but how to fill those gaps and start your team selling. Because at that point, as you move forward to going into your own division and your own branches, you're going to gain your growth and your income levels by the performance enhancements of others, and this will be a very important tool for you. So that's where you're starting to now see all the effort that went into this, and that is understanding the industry, understanding the company, understanding the disruptive technology that you offer, understanding what people are used to seeing, understanding the information they'd like to hear from you, and now matching that up against your personal assessment. So this is just the first meeting. This is the first training session. This is for a lot of people, they wish they could just redo this whole session because it's kind of a wake-up for them and they didn't know what they were really getting into. And so that's why we're kind of taking it a little slower here. But from the next sessions on, we're just going to dive right into this, and it's going to run at a pace significantly faster than we ran today. So that's why we'd like you to go look at the studies, look at your assessment, and start giving that some thought. But yeah, you absolutely nailed it there, and that's exactly what this is for. It's to help even those out so that your chances for success in meeting the information that people are looking for are more targeted, and so you don't waste your time, resources, and you can qualify. All right?
Fantastic, you bet. Okay, what I'd like to do now is if all of you can get out of your profile, and we are going to now move to the magic bullet. And what the magic bullet is ideal referral partnerships. And referrals are the most effective way in order to build your business. That it's also the most cost effective, typically doesn't cost any money. And it's a way to build just amazing, meaningful relationships. And so as we look at that, who is an ideal referral partner? What I'd like you to do this week is I'd like you to identify who is influential, who knows a lot of people, who would be someone that you have a relationship with. It could be a customer. It could be somebody that does your hair. That it could be somebody you write your check to. But I can guarantee you that as we go through this process, you will all of a sudden identify a referral partner that's been right under your nose. I've coached this one guy for 7 years, and every time we meet twice a month that I look at referral partners, and after 7 years, the guy is now the 250th top salesperson in this industry in the United States. And he was, I don't know, at the bottom 10% when I started with him. And it's mainly due to all of this information, but to now he's at a point where referral partnerships, and just 3 months ago, he all of a sudden said, oh my God, I have this one guy that I know that is just an amazing referral partner. He's had him forever. So, he's known him, he's been around, he's in his life all the time. It could be a family member, but I want you to identify a referral partner. And I'm going to give you an example, and this is where I had my first $1 million sale. And let me just walk through a little of this. First of all, you need to identify your ideal referral partner, and then also identify who your ideal client is. That you're going to have conversations with what I call referral partners, and this is a very disciplined approach. It's just not asking for referrals, okay? It's going out targeting who are people that are well connected in the community, well respected in the community, people that I can go to and that I can ask for help. And when they say yes, because when you ask that question, would you help me, that most people are going to say yes. And then you need to be clear on who you're looking for. And so I'd like each of you to identify a referral partner this week. And again, you can get back with me with questions on whatever you have. But the other thing I want you to do is to write out what you think an ideal client is. And so who is an ideal client? You can start out in general terms. They're harmonious. They listen to what I say. They're looking for health insurance. That they have a family, because that would be PJ said he's already taken as far as the ideal referral partner, so you can't use him. That's a good one. I like that. And so, but I want you to identify who is your ideal client. And so to start getting more and more clarity. So we're not asking for the crystallized answer yet. What we're asking for is for you to start getting into this. As you start developing and literally asking the universe, tell me, who is an ideal referral partner? Have them come to me. I want to be this magnet, and I want to attract to me this ideal referral partner, that you're going to start seeing these people coming to you and giving you different business that is beyond what it'll be easy, it'll be fun, and it'll be big business, grow your business, and you'll be able to use the same process again as you grow into, having a branch, whatever, having people under you, that as you grow your business, that you'll want to use this magic bullet. You then will want to share your goal with them. And so what is your goal? And that, hey, I'd like to help X number of people with their health insurance needs. That, this Obama thing has created havoc. That I can tell you one, niche market is on people that are entrepreneurs, have their own companies, and that we offer a $100 referral bonus to clients. Oh yeah, and so you guys offer a $100 referral to clients. So now that's a benefit, and we'll get to that. Bill just shared that with me and sent that over. But you're going to see on. In fact, let's talk right now. Why don't you get very many referrals? Why do most people don't get very many referrals? Why is that? The reason is because they don't ask for referrals. Well, why don't they ask for referrals? And here is the psychological reason on why most people don't ask for referrals, is because they believe they only benefit. So if I would ask, let's say, you for a referral, and so let's say for I own several businesses, but I'll just say my consulting business and a coaching, that who do you know that would want to coach with me, that who benefits in that? Well, so first of all, I benefit, okay? But why am I so confident to ask you for a referral? And the reason is because I'm damn good. In fact, I kick ass, and that's the type of attitude I want you to start really embracing, because I deserve it. Okay, so number one, because I deserve it. And why is it going to benefit you when I ask you for a referral? Because you are going to build a better relationship with whatever person you refer me to. And why is that? Because those people are going to lighten up and make their business and make their life better than ever because they had me. Just like you're thinking that, hey, whoever my referral partner, when I ask for a referral, they're going to benefit because you're going to give them the best, most affordable insurance in the United States of America. And so everybody benefits. Yes, you benefit financially. They benefit more than financially, your referral partner. And why is that? Because your referral partner is going to build a better relationship with their friend that they refer you to, a better relationship with their family member that they refer you to, a better relationship with one of their clients that will build their business then. So there is every reason for you to stand tall, to be confident, to be sure, and to ask for referrals. Now, I'm asking you for a referral, and I expect you to have, who do you know? You never would ask the question, do you know anybody? Hell, they know people. So you want to ask, who do you know? Okay, and you want to get those. So back to, and again, I'm on a roll right now because this is the energy that you call forth, that when you have this focused energy on, yeah, I'm going to go out and I'm going to build my business, and I'm going to build it by everybody benefiting, me benefiting, my referral partner benefiting, and then whoever they refer me to, they benefit. And why do they benefit? Because we're going to give them the best damn, most affordable health insurance in the United States of America. And so I'm into all that. Come on, somebody give me an amen.
I'll give you that.
Amen. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So your ideal referral partner, I want you to be thinking and just be easy about it and start asking. This idea about you asking, I ask for who's an ideal referral partner who could provide me more and more referrals. I then want you to identify your ideal referral partner, identify who your ideal client is. you want to be clear on what your goal is. So your goal could be that, hey, I want to help X number of families to with their health insurance needs. And so, something like that. But again, I want you to share with me your referral partner, your ideal client, and then also what your goal is. So I want you to send that to me, and I'll recap this on what I'm asking for you to get back to me. And then you want to meet with your ideal referral partner, and you want to ask, would you help me? And a big obstacle is complement and compliant and taxes. Yeah. So one of so Bill just said, is a compliant with the Obama thing and with taxes. And so we need to get an answer for that. And I actually have been working with one of your advisors, and they used me as a referral partner, and I've been really tough on them. Is I want answers to compliance and taxes, and at this point, the answer is that there are some health programs that they can buy a second health program that would be compliant with that, and that would and thus it wouldn't have to be paid that tax. And there's some other solutions there too on this, but that is something that I want us to address, is the compliant and the taxes on that. And so that is one. And whenever we have that challenge, just know there's an answer to everything. And so again, we won't get into that right now, but it's a great question and something that I want answers. And if you guys have some solutions for that, I want to hear that. And you bet, Bill. Thank you. Appreciate your input. And so let's see. So as we go here, so you want to meet with your ideal referral partner. And so basically what I want you to do is identify an ideal referral partner. This week, I want you to call them and ask for a meeting. And the first thing that you'll do, and then ask for help. Will you help me? So over the phone, whatever, when you're scheduling that meeting, would you be willing to help me? And then they say, most of them will say yes. And in fact, you're doing them a favor. Most people want to help other people. And so by you saying, hey, will you help me? You're putting them in a position to help another person, and it's you. So I want you to help to start increasing your self-esteem too, and realize that you are the conduit, and you're the leader, and you're the guy that's going to be able to go out and say, hey, I'm the guy that I'm going to make you feel good, because I'm going to ask you for a referral. And you like to help people, and so I'm putting myself in a position to help who? To help me. And you got to have a lot of self-esteem to recognize that it's okay to ask for help, and then to recognize that when they help you, that it's you they're helping, and you're worth it. You deserve it. So thanks for being with me. Share your goal. Share your ideal client with them. Ask, who do you know? Not do you know somebody, okay? Who do you know? Who do you know? Because they know somebody. Everybody knows at least 250 people. On average, it's 250 people they know. How many of those people, out of any, pilot, any person that you meet, out of those 250 people, how many of them, out of those 250 people they know, need health insurance? A lot. Okay, and I don't know what that number is, but at least 25. And so every person that you talk to that knows at least 25 people that needs quality, affordable health insurance. Then ask for a personal introduction. So that doesn't mean just give me the name and number and I'll call them. That means I want you to call the person you're referring me to and tell them about me, tell them about what I have to offer, this great health insurance, and then ask for permission that would it be okay for, in this case, my example, would it be okay for Dr. Hank to give you a call? They say, sure. And so most people will say, sure. And then you hold them accountable. And so you call them back, then you say, when can you talk to Dr. Hank and see and get that personal introduction? And they say, by tomorrow. You say, great, I'll call you tomorrow afternoon. And then you call them tomorrow afternoon. So you need to write that down, and you need to have some type of time management system. And we'll get into that a little bit later, through the process. But time management is of essence for you to make sure you have an effective time management system. And then you want to meet with them every 2 weeks. So if you can build a whole business just on referral partnerships, and I just want to give you an example of my use of referral partnerships. So when I was with Procter & Gamble for 15 years managing a $1 billion business, about half the time they had me in training, and the other half I was managing this $1 billion business. And our patents started to run out, and so they started to say, what are we going to do that, we started to lose share, we started to lose sales, we started to lose profit. And so I decided to take all of my education, and so my undergraduate's in business, my master's is in human behavior, my PhD is in mental science. I then had these 15 years of being groomed by Procter & Gamble, of managing $1 billion business. So I took all of that and all of the training and everything that I had, and I developed a process, and this is part of the process that we're going through. And it was so effective that it increased our revenues by 21%, and it decreased our costs by 34%. And I said, this is so damn good, I'm leaving Procter & Gamble. So I did. And it was against everybody else's wishes. Everybody, my in-laws said, oh, don't do that, and all the profit sharing, all the high income, I'm just making a high six-figure income, that every year, and all this stock, and oh, don't do that. And so, but you can't honor other people's opinion. The God of other people's opinion, forget about. You need to honor your opinion and what feels good to you and the ideas that come to you. And so the idea came to me, I'm going to start my own business. I have a guaranteed way to guarantee specific measurable results for businesses. I left Procter & Gamble, and guess who my first client was? Procter & Gamble. And guess who made more money that year with Procter & Gamble than when I was with Procter & Gamble? I made more money with Procter & Gamble that year because of it. Well, I developed this ideal referral partner system, and I started using it. And so I was dealing with a Chase Bank executive, a vice president, and so I went to him, and basically and this guy's name is Jack, and he's an old Marine guy, and kind of crusty around the edges, not real kind, nice guy. And he comes up, and I asked him if I could meet with him. And he goes, what for? And I said, well, I need your help. And he goes, yeah, okay, I'll help you. And, kind of almost in a mean way. So I go and I meet him, and I say to Jack, I said, Jack, thanks so much for being willing to help me. He goes, yeah. And I said, listen, I want to share my goal with you, that I'd like to be introduced to companies that want to that are billion-dollar companies, okay, and that are CEOs of those companies that want to measurably increase their results. And so again, that would be, and do you know any? And so that was my goal, okay, that billion-dollar companies share my ideal client. My ideal client is the CEO of billion-dollar companies. And so I asked, who do you know? And he goes, well, I know this one rich guy, and he's at a dime bank out in the eastern United States. And I said, great. And he goes, here's his name and number. I said, I don't want his name and number. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, I want a personal introduction. He goes, what do you mean? And I said, would you call him? Tell him about me. Tell him how good that I am, just like you guys can say, tell him how good our insurance is. And PJ is a great example of, he's had all of this hospital stuff and operations and had our insurance, and, it was just remarkable. He didn't pay anything out of pocket, and they did all of this. So, but back to my story. So, I tell Jack, so Jack, I'd like you to call him and see if it's okay to call him. So Jack goes, okay. And I said, okay, Jack, holding him accountable. When can you call him? And he goes, I'll call him next week. You call me next Friday at 1700 hours. The guy's a military guy, 5 o'clock. So I'm a military guy too. So I knew what that meant. And so that next Friday at 5 o'clock, I called Jack. I said, Jack, did you call did you call the CEO? And he goes, yeah, I called him and he wants to talk to you. And I say, great. What's his name? What's his number? Gives me his name, gives me his number. I call up to the office, and I get a gatekeeper. And this lady goes, I say, I'd like to talk to Rich. And she goes, so does the rest of the world. And I said, no, really, I need to talk to Rich. My name's Dr. Hank. He's expecting my call. And she goes, no, he's not available. And I said, listen, I know you're doing your job on being a gatekeeper, but you'll be doing your job in this case by you telling Rich that I'm on the line. He's expecting my call. She goes, oh, okay, just wait. Puts me on hold for about 2 minutes. All of a sudden she gets back. Oh, Dr. Hank, let me put you right through. Rich answers the phone. He goes, Dr. Hank, how are you? Hey, listen, I got this deal in Milwaukee and this deal in New York. Where do you want to start? And that deal was $1.2 million. He didn't ask me. I didn't have to do any selling. I didn't have to do anything. And so that's how powerful that is. This process. And it reminds me, maybe you need to get into companies that don't offer health insurance. And so that might be, a nice niche for one of you or all of you to do. So I'm going to, so there is the ideal referral partnership process. I'd like you to identify a referral partner. I'd like you to go to them, set up a meeting and go through that agenda, if you will, and what to ask for. So we have 2 minutes left. A quick review of our success assignments. First of all, I want you to read the behavioral part of your results. I want you to listen to an MP3 at least 6 times. So that's going to be about behaviors and about motivations. And so I'm going to be sending that to you. And I want you to listen to it 6 times. You may ask, why 6 times? And the answer is because most people don't accept new ideas until at least 6 times. So there's a process, a time-proven process that this is going to get into your minds, your hearts, your souls on this information to actually use, implement, and then become your greatest possibility. Then I want to make sure you define your ideal client. I want you to identify and then meet with at least one referral partner. And then I'd like you to develop your 2017 business plan. And again, that's those 2 pages that I showed you on your personal development and your business development. And so I'll send a recap of all that that I'm asking for you to do. That's in this next week. I want you to think about this as this is building you and this is building your future into something that is beyond your current imagination. I guarantee you in a year from now, we're going to be sitting here and you're going to be blown away at the money you've made, at the success that you've had as you implement this. So I know you have a lot of things on your plate. However, I want you, and someone asked if we could do that from 7 to 9. And so we'll look at that, Robert, and we'll see on what time will be best for all of us. And I'll send out a question on that as well if you guys want to do that. But you have to understand that you need to have this will increase the amount of time that you have because you're going to be more effective, more productive, and more focused on your high payoff activities and the big bang for your buck that you're going to get. So with that, any other questions or comments? All right. Well, gentlemen, with that, I truly thank you for attending our USHA advanced training, sales training, that it's been a remarkable experience time. Get back with me with any questions, comments that I want to hear from you, and I'm here to help you to go. And thanks. I will have a great week. It's been a pleasure, Bill, and I thank all of you. And with that, go have a fantastic week. Happy holidays, and we will talk next week at this time. It'll be next Monday for sure, Monday morning, 8 to 10, or maybe earlier than that. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye-bye.